And employees have to be happy. If they're not enjoying their work, if they don't feel valued, then they're not going to stick with you. Or if they do stick with you, they're not going to be giving you their best.
Hey, this is Nick Armstrong, and you are listening to the FoundedInFoCo podcast. Each episode, we get to talk with an innovative entrepreneur in our community doing cool and fun and quirky things. And today, we've got Candyce Edelen, and she's going to tell us all about Scale Up Week at FoundedInFoCo. Candyce, you're a member of the core team. You've been with us for a number of years. Why don't you tell us what we can look forward to this year?
Sure. So I'm Candyce Edelen with Propel Growth, and I have been working on Scale Up Day, I guess, since 2019. And the whole goal for Scale Up Day is to help entrepreneurs who've already got an established business to figure out how to not just grow the business, but to scale it, meaning that your revenue growth is exceeding your expense growth so that your profits are growing. This is also a great program for budding entrepreneurs that are looking to create a business that can scale rather than just something that's trading time for dollars.
Yes, you got to learn the basics to do it right and build the foundations. Because everybody kind of does this, from scratch. It's bootstrapping, essentially. And this is a better way to learn.
Well, and actually you bring up an important point, Nick, that a lot of founders, especially tech founders, think that the only way to start a business is to raise money. And that's not actually true. Bootstrapping can be a much better and more sustainable way to grow a business. So we're not going to be talking about fundraising. We're going to be talking about bootstrapping and creating the operating conditions that will enable your business to scale and not just grow.
So we've heard from Charles Fred in the past. We've heard from Betsy Craig from Trinfo. Who can we look forward to this year?
So our opening keynote is by somebody that I've been following for years. Her name is Elaine Pofelt, and she did some research. She's been a journalist for a long time. And she was looking into the business census, and came across this trend that there's all of these businesses in the US that are bringing in more than $1 million in revenue, and they have no employees. And she's like, how's that working? And so she started a research project and interviewing these business owners and figuring out what's unique about these companies. How the heck did they do that? And so she wrote a book called The $1 Million One Person Company, where she talks about hundreds of these different companies. And then most recently, she wrote another book called Tiny Business, Big Money. That just came out in 22. And it's taking some of these companies that were these one-person companies and how they're scaling. So then we're going to follow that up with another session from Charles Fred, who is amazing. And so Charles has been talking about the research that they did with TrueSpace around the 5 operating conditions that are necessary to scale a business. In 2020, he introduced this. Then in 2022, this past September, he talked about one of the operating conditions called endurance. This time around, he's going to be talking about predictability, because that's such a key thing that you have to get in place if you want your business to scale. You have to be able to predict whether something is going to work or not work. And so he'll be talking about how to establish that operating condition. Then he's followed by Samson Jagoras. If you don't know Samson, he is a serial entrepreneur. He was one of the co-founders of Madwire. And he has recently started 3 additional businesses. He's got some health clubs, and he's growing that. And I think he's kind of franchising that also. And then he's got a couple of other businesses that he's going to be talking about, one in real estate investing, and then one in teaching business owners how to scale. So he's going to be talking about pain to profits and why 90% of businesses fail to scale, and what you can do to make your business scalable. Then we've got Beth Boswick, and she and her husband, Peter, have built multiple businesses also. And so she's going to talk more about scaling in this economic environment, because things are different right now and you can't go back to pre-pandemic thinking. So Beth is going to be talking about some simple tools that she recommends that you can use to shift your business thinking. Then I get to interview Sarnan Steinbarth and possibly one other founder, possibly Jen from Tilt, about how they built their businesses. So Sarnan built Turbo Tenant, which he founded in 2015, and that has grown into multiple tens of millions of dollars. And he's going to talk about how he scaled it. I got a chance to talk to him, Nick, and he was showing me some numbers and how he tracks his business growth, because his business is kind of B2C. What they do is enable landlords of small landlords, like 1, 2, 3 unit landlords, to grow their businesses and seek tenants and things like that. So it's kind of a B2C model, even though it's sort of a B2B business also. But he uses ads to drive a lot of that traffic and is investing like $400,000 a year in ads. So he's going to talk about how he tracks his growth and manages it. And boy, does he have a predictable business. So it ties really closely into what Charles is going to be talking about. Then we've got, at the same time as Sarnan, we've got a team of people talking about what every business needs in order to scale. And that's going to be a panel with Becky Azell, Tammy Parker, and Genevieve Huxley. And they all come from different areas around bookkeeping, small business action plans and things like that. So they'll be talking more about some of the financial things that you need to do to prepare your business to scale. And then I'll come on, yours truly, and talk about how you can use LinkedIn to create predictable growth in driving revenue for your business. And then on Friday, we've got another session with Dale Wickizer about getting a grip on your business. So she's going to be talking about sensible things that you can do to really get a grip around self-employment and how to grow your business, even if it's a one person or you've got multiple employees. And I can't forget Cindy Skalicki. She's not listed in Scale Up specifically, but she's going to be talking about executive presence. And man, Cindy can bring it. And if you're trying to learn how to present better and speak to your clients better, speak to employees better, this is going to be a great session. That's it. That's Scale Up Day.
Isn't it cool when all of the topics sort of like intermesh and accidentally, like there's a ton of work that goes into developing Scale Up Week, and it's been an absolute privilege watching you put all of the pieces together and knit these amazing programs together from these speakers who are in our own backyard. Nobody would even think that these amazing entrepreneurs are here in Fort Collins, but this is sort of a hotspot for awesome entrepreneurs doing innovative things and doing things really well from a process standpoint. So learning from them is essential for our entrepreneurial community.
Yeah. And I mean, from my perspective, helping companies in the Fort Collins area grow and scale and create great jobs does a lot to just stabilize and grow our economy. But we as entrepreneurs, we need to be creating jobs that pay a living wage so that our employees can afford to live in Fort Collins and not just, barely get by. So actually, that's another person that we're bringing in who's going to be talking more about keeping your employees happy as your business is growing. So that will also be happening on Wednesday. That's a good one for anybody that's got employees. Some of the struggles that employees have in Fort Collins and around the northern Colorado is being able to afford things like healthcare and childcare, being able to access services that they need. And so Liddy is coming in, Liddy Romero, to talk about how you can provide employees with access to some of the things that they desperately need outside of work so that when they come to work, they're completely focused.
It's such an important part of employee retention. And if you're looking to scale and have predictability, you have to have that employee retention component in place.
And employees have to be happy. If they're not enjoying their work, if they don't feel valued, then they're not going to stick with you. Or if they do stick with you, they're not going to be giving you their best.
Absolutely. You have a business of your own, you and Phil, who are on our core team. Tell us about some of the things that you've put into play since your business has been around for a while. I've seen you pivot. I would love to hear about how some of the things that you've either learned or built into the programming at FoundedInFoCo have influenced your business decisions.
Oh, sure. So I actually am a serial entrepreneur. I started two fintech companies in 2000 and 2005 and scaled both of those into multi-millions, but really didn't get it anywhere close to like the $10 million mark. If I had known, Nick, what Charles teaches back then, I'd be a multi-millionaire like 10 times over, because the strategies that he teaches are so workable, I guess. It just works. So we're actually in TrueSpace now, and we're growing our current business. Propel Growth was founded in 2007. But during 2020, we had to make a big pivot. So we were a marketing consultancy, had been working primarily in the financial services industry, and decided that we wanted to pivot our business out of financial services into commercial real estate back in 2017. I didn't have any network. So in financial services, I'd built multiple companies in there. So by the time I started Propel Growth, I had a really big network in that industry. And I was also known as a kind of a thought leader in the tech space, and I was writing things and publications were taking my articles. So between my content that I was publishing and my referral network, I didn't make any sales calls for 10 years, no outbound efforts. Then we decided to change industries, and all of that referral traffic and inbound just like hit a brick wall. So I had to figure out a way to bring in business, because I'm the one in our business that's responsible for sales. And if I don't sell, we don't eat. So, it's like not optional over here. So I turned to LinkedIn back in 2017, 2018 to build a network in the commercial real estate space, which is what we were targeting next. And over 6 months, I perfected a method that brought in 125 sales calls. That brought in 27 really well-qualified opportunities, and we closed $438,000 of business just using LinkedIn. No cold calls. I hate cold calling. Not even email marketing, just LinkedIn. So then I did a webinar in 2019 about this, and I taught it for Startup Week in Fort Collins, which is now FoundedInFoCo. And 500 people showed up to my webinar. It was really remarkable, but I had nothing to sell on the back of it. It was just like public service. Here you go. So then 2019 rolls into 2020, and we all know what happened. And our business just like kind of went off a cliff because our clients' businesses were struggling. And I just didn't have the heart to hold them to contracts when they were losing business on their side. So come around, March, April, we were screwed, frankly. And then in May, somebody saw my webinar and reached out to me and asked me if I would teach his team. So we did that. And Phil and I were like, light bulb moment, we should maybe build a course. Another company asked us to teach their resellers the methodology. So we built a course. At the beginning of 2021, we launched Prospecting Mastery and completely pivoted our business away from marketing consulting into teaching this method that is frankly faster than inbound marketing when companies need to bring in leads. I don't say that it should replace inbound marketing, but it's a really solid, faster way to get in the door with top-notch clients. So we've been teaching that for 2 years. We doubled year over year from 21 to 22. And now we're working on scaling this business. And I'm super excited about the growth that we're seeing in it. And more excited about the results that people are getting, because the people that are going through our training are getting, Nick, check this out, 26 meetings per 100 connection requests.
Wow.
It's insane. And they're
1 in
targeted.
4. That's amazing.
26 meetings out of 100 connection requests, and 54% of them converted into qualified opportunities.
Wow.
Because they're targeted, they're not random.
Yeah. That's those sales numbers are astonishing. And pardon me while I pick my jaw off the floor for a minute. No, that's truly stunning. And talk about predictability being an indicator of success, right? So if you can regularly predict that you are going to do an outreach, you're dedicating that hour or 2 hours of time to reach out to 100 prospects that are hyper focused, and I'm sure some amount of research ahead of that to make sure that they're the right targeted audience.
Exactly.
You'd better make sure that that time is well invested, and a 25% return. That's wow.
It's
That's
insane,
really,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And it's the thing that you really have to get people to stop thinking is mass marketing. It's like we write one email and send it to 1,000 people and expect it to perform. And shockingly, it doesn't. And the key difference between what we're teaching and what others are doing is this human to human communication, where you go and you look at somebody's profile and you find a nugget of information that you can use to start a conversation, and you get a conversation going with them, just like you were networking in person. That is not something that I can take the message I wrote for you and go send the same message to Genevieve Huxley, for example. Yeah. I have to write a different one for her, and a different one for Cindy Skalicki, and a different one for Charles Fred, because everybody's unique and I need to treat them like human beings. And I can't pitch in that message. No pitching, no pitch slapping, as we call it on LinkedIn. You have to just start a conversation that's a warm human to human. And that's how you get the meetings. But the meetings convert. So you don't have to worry so much about, oh, well, if I don't sell, then I'm not going to get the right tone. No, we can teach you how to get the right tone so that that meeting can turn into something productive.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that we commonly hear from salespeople is, if I could just get them one-on-one and face-to-face, I would be able to close the deal. You seem to have figured out a methodology for doing that just through a LinkedIn message. So that's amazing. And I can't emphasize enough how much you need to go and learn from Scale Up Week, because of amazing tidbits like this that just come out of the woodwork, that you just do a few things and implement a few of these steps, that your business will start taking that upward trajectory pretty quickly.
Yeah. Come to Scale Up Day, because it's going to be quite profound. I will teach you how to get 26 meetings for every 100 connection requests, but you're going to learn so many things at every session. You're going to take away something that you can put to work in your business right away. That's the whole goal, is that you go in and you come away with, oh, wow, I can implement this from this session, this from this session, this from this session, and I'm going to be able to scale my company.
And as you heard, it's from entrepreneurs who have been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Mm-hmm. You heard Candyce say, if she didn't do the sales, there would not be food on the table. And so it's knowledge that is hard earned that you can benefit from without having to go through the muck yourself.
It's not theoretical.
Love it. Candyce, where can we learn more about you and your business, and where can we find out more about Scale Up Day?
Well, okay. So for Scale Up Day, go to FoundedInFoCo.com and look at the schedule. And most of the stuff on Wednesday is Scale Up, but you can also click a link in there to filter to find your Scale Up programming. For me, you can find us at propelgrowth.com. That's PROPELGROWTH.com. Or, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Candyce Edelen, and fortunately, I have a really weird spelling of my name. So if you know how to spell my name, CandyceEdelen, then you'll be able to find me on LinkedIn. Send me a connection request. I'd love to get acquainted.
And where can we find the course that you mentioned as well?
Learning.propelgrowth.com, or just Propel Growth. You don't need to have the learning on there, but the course is on there. And we're actually just opening up a new cohort for a prospecting accelerator that starts on January 24th. So if you really want to get serious, check that out. That's on our site too, propelgrowth.com.
Wonderful. Candyce, I am so thankful that we have you on the team to help sort of guide all of these amazing entrepreneurs into the presence of other entrepreneurs who can learn from them, and that we can benefit from your expertise as an entrepreneur as well. So thank you for all you do for FoundedInFoCo and for our community at large.
Well, thank you, Nick. It wouldn't be happening if you weren't doing it because, we're all following you. And I'm just so genuinely impressed with how you are pulling things together and the work that Charles is doing on this and the team. It's just been really exciting to see everything seriously coming together. So I'm totally excited. And the other thing I want to thank you for is how much you just sort of like say, you want to do something, go for it, make it happen. And it really becomes a community driven event. And I admire that a lot about you.
Thank you so much for that. We have so many awesome entrepreneurs on the team, so many rock stars that contribute in their own way and have amazing things that they have learned or participated in or acquired over the years that they're lending to this experience just to make one entrepreneur's day better.
Yeah.
Improve their future. So it's really easy to lean into that space when when we have so many rock stars on the team.
Yeah, there's some amazing people. It's been really exciting, especially some of the people that are taking these big leadership roles right now, like Beth and Peter, Charles, Krista, Kim and Phil. It's like everybody's kind of taking these different angles on things, and it's just making the program better. It's great to have them on the team.
As a leader, it makes it really great not to be like the Nick Armstrong show. You know what I mean? Because it's easy for that to happen if you don't have the trust in your team or even the people sometimes, right? Because during COVID, volunteerism dropped off, and you just don't have people to hand things off to. But it's truly humbling to be able to have the trust in the team to be able to hand things off and say that the results are your own, and I love that, and I'm happy to help support that and resource it. And what comes out of that is something that's co-created and brilliant and wouldn't have happened if it had just been one person doing it on their own.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And it's not random. It's not just based on random people submitting talks that are voted on by people that don't even live in the community. It's
highly intentional.
It's very intentional. All of the programming that is happening at FoundedInFoCo is by design. And I think that that's an important feature of what we're doing that's different.
If you want to join us, check out FoundedInFoCo.com. The schedule is posted right up there on the menu. You can also click on a button right on the homepage, and it'll take you right to the schedule. You can build out your entire schedule, save it to your phone, take it with you, and learn from those amazing entrepreneurs that we have talked about today and more. There's even more talks that we didn't talk about. 2 full days of talks that are beyond the scale-up day. So please join us. And for more great entrepreneurial advice and wisdom, let me try that one more time. For more great advice and entrepreneurial wisdom from our community, got to enunciate when you're on a podcast. Join us at FoundedInFoCo.com and also on our podcast, FoundedInFoCo, wherever you get your podcasts from. Candice, thanks for joining me today. It was so much fun.
Thank you. And please come say hi to both of us when you come to FoundedInFoCo. We'd love to meet you.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Nick Armstrong, and this is a FoundedInFoCo podcast. For more great interviews like this one, join us at FoundedInFoCo.com.